It's the Bruins Benders post-game live on the Inside the Rink YouTube channel with Maddie and Smitty. Click subscribe. You can watch our content all season long. Follow us on the social medias at Bruins Benders as well. It's Maddie, it's Smitty. And the Bruins drop another home game, 2-1 tonight to the Pittsburgh Penguins, the defensively challenged Penguins who haven't been very good all season long, really, have their issues of their own. But again, the Bruins struggled to finish several times tonight, and Smitty has mentioned this many times. Being able to get the puck off a rebound or a greasy goal and being able to find the puck to score the puck is something that this Bruins team is just not good at all.
No, it's fucking infuriating watching these guys just like walk around. They might as well be playing with the other sides of their sticks. I mean,
Right.
Fucking seriously.
Yeah.
Might as well be playing with the knob end. Jesus Christ. They look like they are challenged.
Mm-hmm.
Physically challenged out there on the ice. Like they just can't do anything right.
No. Well, they're gripping them. They're gripping them pretty tight now too.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
How many third period goals at home have they had all season?
One. And you know when it was?
It was October 10th or something. It was early.
The home opener, folks.
The home opener. They haven't scored in the third period home since the opening game of the season.
Correct.
Of the season.
Why?
Here's the thing. Why are they so bad at home? I mean, they've been really bad at home.
Almost 3 months.
Yeah. Why are they so bad at home? They play much better on the road.
Because they're not very good.
Yeah, well, that's true.
They're trying to put on a show, which is what they do at home. They overpass and they try to put on a show. They try to make the pretty play. Even though this fan base likes players that work hard and compete and are gritty and greasy.
Doesn't need that.
Doesn't matter how the puck goes in as long as it goes in.
Yeah.
It was a pretty big ovation when Craig Janney put one in off his face.
Yeah, it was. Still went in. No one cared if he lost.
No one gave a rat's ass. It went in. It counted. So, I mean, throw your face in front of one. It doesn't matter at this point. You got to get one to go.
Get one.
And
Get one.
The problem with it is I don't know how many other teams you see. The guy who shoots the puck finds it right away, like rebound, like shot, rebound, and he gets like a couple of chances, a couple of whacks at it. This team, for whatever reason, I don't know if they're coming in too fast or they don't slow down around the net or they fly by, which I think is probably the case more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
How does the guy who shoots it not know where it's going and can get there to get a rebound? Like, how is that possible?
Not 100% sure.
I don't. Your first shot be a shot with purpose. Put it off the pad so it comes right back to you, and then you can score on the rebound. It's not that fucking difficult. They don't think. This team's hockey IQ is absolute fucking garbage.
Yeah. Well, how much of it is?
Sorry, John.
How much of it is being trained to go for the highest quality shot and have not been playing, the style of let's just get it on net and then go get it and then try to put it in the net. Like how much of that is just being too fine? You talk about overpassing. Well, how much of that is they've been coached that way to overpass?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, how about Pastrnak tonight? I mean, he's got a 1T he doesn't take, and then he tries to go across the ice. And it gets deflected away with like 30 seconds or whatever it was. 30 seconds.
Intercepted with 30 seconds.
Intercepted. Fire that on net. Like that's all they're trying to do is try to get him his 1Ts. They tried it a million times in the third period. Didn't work. Kept not working. It's not working. Find a different way to score. Like that's not working.
For him, that the pass isn't that off the 1T. It's a shot pass. It's low far side where Marchand camps out or where the low player on the power play camps out. Even if the guy gets a pad on it, maybe the guy low can grab the rebound and throw it in. Yeah. So it's not that. Like make it a shot pass. Put it towards the net. It doesn't have to be exactly on net, but like off the far post or far post, inside the far post, so you get a rebound. Like, it's not a seam pass when the whole world, is collapsing down.
Right.
It's just they don't have any hockey IQ. They don't. They got a team of guys, and you're right. I think they have to unlearn some of the shit they were taught with, best possible play, seam pass and shoot, it's quality over quantity, all that shit. They have to unlearn all that.
Well, especially if you don't have playmaking centers or playmakers, that you can't play that way because you're not going to set up the perfect play that you're looking for ever. So it's just not going to happen. So right now it's just it's a team of pluggers. So just plug away. Like, just grind away. Just get greasy goals as best as you can and play good defense. And these are the types of games they're going to lose all season long. Is they're going to lose 2-1 games and 3-2 games and 1-0 games where there's a flurry at the end, and they're all over the place and they can't put it in the net, and the time goes off. This is going to happen more and more this season, and they're going to win games 2-1, 3-2, and it's going to be a grind, and it's going to be like taking your balls and just scraping it across, a bed of nails. It's just going to be just painstaking all season long.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. It's going to be just, up and down, gut wrenching, infuriating, and then, they'll win some, like you said.
They'll win some of them, sure, because they have good goaltending, and they'll win some.
It is. It's going to be infuriating watching this team play all year. It is.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to just drive your blood pressure to spike.
But again, at the end of the day, I think it's, in a weird way, it's good they're losing these games. Like, it's good that they're still kind of losing games here and there, because there can't be false hope. There can't be fool's gold. Like, you can't just go beat a bunch of bad teams and then say, okay, we're not as bad as we thought we were. Or we don't need the help that we think we did. They still need to make some moves. They still need to change up the roster. And I think these are good reminders that it's still there. Like, they still have to do it. So as hard as it is to watch them lose, and as pissed off as you get, they can't run off 6 in a row, because then they won't do anything. And then it'll end badly.
Can't run off 6 in a row because they can't run off.
They can't run off 6 in a row. They can't. So good. I'm glad they can't, because they need to
be able to run off 6 in a row, because then they're just flat out not good enough to run off 6 in a row. They're just not good enough.
No, they're not.
Especially when they start playing good teams. They're not playing good teams now, and they're still barely scraping by. So that doesn't bode well for them going forward. Power play still fucking atrocious. And they can't score. It's plain and simple. They can't score. Can't score.
And this was 2 games right here. They needed to win, like we said, to go 13-10-3, like to be back in it, like to be right there, really. But no, they're losing to teams that just, you can't lose to Pittsburgh at home. Like, Pittsburgh is not good.
Pittsburgh's terrible.
They're not good. And they give up a shit ton of goals.
So does the Bruins, though.
Sure.
So you look at the Bruins goal differential, it's one of the worst in the league.
Yeah,
how
they give up goals
position, or how they were close to the playoff position, is a miracle.
It's a wonder that they are. And I'll tell you, Florida's been up and good, and they're kind of hanging around because other teams haven't been great. They haven't been able to separate. But but also on the other end, Buffalo and Ottawa and Detroit, all of them are right up your ass because you haven't won any games.
No, because
it's just that's why. You stink. Yeah,
that's why they're up your ass, because you're not good.
Because you're not better than they are.
You're not better than any of those teams. All those teams are as good as you.
And as we've talked about, the roster, the lineup, is only better than Montreal, and we are correct. Like, we went through the forward groups.
Yeah.
And we said, Montreal. Yeah, we'll give you Montreal.
Yeah, and Montreal, maybe Buffalo. Buffalo.
That's where you are. That's what you are. We are what we thought.
Montreal. I think maybe we gave them Detroit too. Montreal and Detroit.
Yeah, maybe. Or it was touch and go.
Yeah, it's close.
Touch and go in
Detroit. I think we did give them Detroit.
They had to brink it and stuff. I don't know. We might have been split on that one.
To brink Larkin and Mason Raymond. Yeah, I mean,
yeah. But okay. So a Red Wings fan is saying Coyle, Frederick, and
yeah, but I mean,
Johnson.
you go Pastrnak, Marchand,
yeah,
Coyle, Zacha. I mean, that's better than Pastrnak. Marchand is better than DeBrincat, Larkin.
Yes, that'll give you Coyle when you start throwing Coyle and Zacha. I'll give you. You start throwing Coyle in there. Screw that.
Yeah, but if you say Coyle, Zacha, Mason Raymond, and then who's next to the Red Wings?
Yeah,
I think the Bruins have them, but
I don't know who's next.
Either way, that's yeah. I'm telling you that.
Pavel Datsyuk, Zetterberg.
Yeah. So either way, that's still puts them third worst in the division.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, third worst in the division isn't in the playoffs.
Yeah. And if we went to the Metro, they're better than the Islanders.
And that's it.
That's about it. That's it.
Even the Penguins with their
even the Penguins. I mean, Crosby, Malkin.
Yeah.
Rust. I'd take Rust. Rust is pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean,
Bunting scored 20 goals.
Bunting is a guy the Bruins could really use.
Sure.
Michael Bunting. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what you do. I don't know where you go. I don't know. I just don't know. And if they lose to Montreal Sunday, then boy, it could start going the other way because the other teams are coming.
The only thing, and I won't even give them a pass for it, but the only thing that I'll say as a caveat with the loss today is it was their third game in 4 days. That's the only little thing that you could say, well, maybe they had heavy legs. That's the only explanation you can give for it.
Maybe he had heavy legs.
Maybe he had heavy legs. That's the only explanation you can give. Because it wasn't good through two periods. Pittsburgh outchanced them like 40 to 25. Out high danger chances were 9-2 for Pittsburgh through two periods.
Yeah, not good.
Certainly didn't improve any in the third until very, very late.
Mm-hmm.
So Pittsburgh carried the play for most of the game.
Pittsburgh outplayed
chances most of the game. If Swayman wasn't good, and Swayman was good tonight.
He was.
He was very good. So if he wasn't good, then you probably lose this game like 4-0.
You sure do.
4-1.
You sure do.
5-1.
Yeah. I mean, the Bruins score, a minute and a half into the game, whatever. And then from there, Pittsburgh carries the play.
Yeah.
Like it's not like it's almost like the Bruins scored and we're like, okay, we're good. Like we scored 6 the other night. We'll probably score 5 or 6 tonight. We'll win this one 5-2. Okay, great. Like they acted like it. Like, okay, there's the goal. Here we go.
It felt like they just kind of took their foot off the gas after that. And we're like, we can coast to a win. This team stinks.
Right. It felt that way.
And I don't know where they get that fucking kind of audacity to be like, this team's not very good. Look, boys, you're not very good.
You're not very good.
You got to try hard every single night, every single shift, or you will lose.
Yeah, you're 11
talent to not try hard.
You're 11-3. That's it. You are 500.
When was the last time they were 2 games over 500?
It's not this year because this would have been the first one. This would have been the first time.
Yeah.
So it's last year. At the end of last year, they haven't been over 2 games over 500 this year. They haven't been at least 2 games over 500. They haven't been all
this season, right?
All season. That's what they said in the broadcast. This would have been their first time. So, there you go. I mean, I don't know. It's just, I don't know what to tell you. It's just not, they can't finish. They can't score. Their centers are killing them. I mean, they just don't have good enough centers.
Everyone's
to
killing
beat
them.
the good teams. I mean, they get nothing from the back end. They talked about it tonight in the broadcast. They have the least amount of one of the least amount of points of defensemen in all the league. Like they don't get anything offensively from them either.
No,
and they should because they have some decently qualified people to give you something on the back end. And I know they're missing Lindholm, but something, and they get nothing. Zadorov is useless offensively. Peak and Wotherspoon do nothing offensively. Carlo does next to nothing offensively. So basically, it's Lowry and maybe McAvoy, who has his issues offensively. Like, there's just not a lot. There's just not a lot there. It's just a very blah team. Just a very average blah team. And it's killing Pastrnak because he has really no help. Like, I know people get on him all the time, but I mean, who's setting him up for success? I mean, Elias Lindholm, I mean, he does some nice things defensively, but offense, it's every time they go in the offensive zone, I'm like, where the hell is he? I don't hear his voice. I don't hear his name at all. Like, he doesn't do much at all offensively.
Yeah, I honestly, I feel like Pastrnak doesn't pass the puck.
Right.
I really feel like that. In the offensive zone, he doesn't pass the puck.
He doesn't pass it, yeah. Well, who would you pass it to?
Well, like, if you pass it to somebody and then cut to the net to get it back, like, he just doesn't. He takes it up high. He could pass it back to the D-man, but he doesn't. He takes it up high himself and then tries that bullshit spin shot that never goes in.
Right.
And never.
But then how about this? They look for him all the time. So it's so when he finally does give it up, they try to get it right back to him. Like it's like his pants are on fire. Like he needs to get it. Or
they need to have a little more poise with it. But yeah. I mean, I agree. Yeah. But he doesn't have a lot of help. He doesn't. But he's not exactly
he's not helping himself.
No, he's not helping himself either.
No. He doesn't.
It's team wide. I mean, it's not just the centers, it's not just the wingers. No. I mean, Pastrnak has 2 goals in the last 15 games or whatever it is. Like it's everybody. It's all together. They're all fucking atrocious. Sorry, John. And speaking of sorry, John. We added a new shirt to the Bruins Benders merchandise.
Oh, did we?
We did. We got look at this bad boy.
Oh my goodness.
Get fucking bent.
Sexy.
Sorry, John.
With the logo on the back.
With your code. Sorry, John. Yeah. With the big Bruins Benders Podcast logo there on the back. So you can pick one of those boys up, wear it around. Tell everybody to fuck right off.
Yeah. If they can't read, then read it off to them. Yeah.
Let everybody know. Let everybody know.
Let everyone know. All right, let's take a quick peek into the ever-loving box score tonight. Let's see who did well and who did not. All right, tonight it was Morgan Geekie with 3 shots. I actually thought Geekie was okay. He drove it to the net one time. He did give away 3 times though.
3 giveaways. Yeah, 3
giveaways. So tonight there were 2 giveaways for Frederick, 4 hits. He had that great assist where he made that great pass early on in the game. Pastrnak 7 shots on net. Marchand 3 shots on net. Zacha -2 on the ice for both. Peak on the ice for both -2. A couple of giveaways for Carlo, a couple for Wotherspoon, who's not great. Peak is awfully steady. I mean, he's on for two goals tonight, but he had 3 shots. He had a block shot. He had 2 hits. Takeaway. Like he does okay. He played 21-17 tonight.
He did, but he was partly responsible for the second goal. Like he was partly responsible for that.
He was playing kissy face with someone by the post.
He was too concerned with O'Connor by the crease. Him and Swayman both. Swayman gives the guy a whack, and he's watching him and not really focused on the puck and the shooter, and the guy walks down the slot and scores.
Yeah.
So the second one, I think even though the guy was kind of walking in, I think you want Swayman to have that one, or at least.
I wanted him to have the first one too, because he's laying on his belly in the ice.
Oh yeah,
There's 6 seconds left.
Yeah,
like stand up straight, please.
I think he lost the post, so he couldn't push off and get over. So he ended up on his stomach. I don't know if the scrum at the near post kind of caused him to lose the post there, so he couldn't push across and stay on his feet. But yeah, I mean that he's lying on his stomach and they go up top, and with basically no time left. Lindholm though, in that sequence, in the last minute of the period, lost like 3 faceoffs in a row, clean. So
clean. Like cleanly, you can't lose that thing cleanly. Like lay on the puck, for crying out loud.
Tie up a stick, do something. to prevent him from winning it clean. He wins it clean, and then he's late to cover Crosby, who swings, gets the puck, swings the net, and makes a great play. I mean, it's Crosby, I know, and he's great. And he made some great plays there at the end. But, you know, Lindholm's supposed to be a defensive guy. He loses 3 faceoffs, loses his goddamn check, and the puck's in the net with less than a second to go. I mean, that's a kick in the fucking balls.
Why? You can't.
2 games in a row, they give up a goal in the last, couple seconds of the second period.
Yes.
And Ty Anderson tweeted out, they've done it 10 times where they've given up a goal in the last minute of a period.
This year?
Times. I believe it was this year.
10 times this season?
I'll look for it. You talk, I'll look.
The other day, Nelson scored with 7 seconds left. Tonight, they scored with 0.8 left. And 10 times, but you know what? 10 times seems right, I guess. I mean, what the hell? I mean, every bad stat, that all seems right. 10 times in the last.
No, it's the final 2 minutes.
Final 2 minutes, 10 times?
Yeah. Excluding empty net goals, 2.
Oh my God, so
goals allowed in the final 2 minutes of a period. 10-8 versus Florida. Sam Reinhart with 126 left in the first. 10-8 versus Florida. Bennett, 26 seconds left in the first. 10-28 versus Toronto. Matthews, 117 left in the second. 10-31 at Carolina. Marty Nakash, 154 left in the first. 11-9 versus Ottawa. Josh Norris, 8 seconds left in the first. 11-14 at Dallas. Dadonov, 11 seconds left in the second. 11-18 versus Columbus. Van Riemsdyk, 32 seconds left in the first. 11-23 at Detroit. Mason Raymond, 58 seconds left in the first. 11-27 against the Islanders. And then tonight against Pittsburgh.
Wow. I mean, and look at the teams. Florida, Toronto, Carolina, Ottawa, Dallas, like the best teams.
Yeah.
Like they're not going to beat these teams. They're not going to beat them.
No.
It's not going to beat those teams. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. And they're certainly not in the playoff series. Like, they're just not going to beat those teams.
No.
So this is what it's going to be. I mean, they only barely
get a roller coaster of emotion.
They should.
Yeah, it's going to be a roller coaster all season long.
It's a roller coaster. I'm a glass.
I'm in a glass house of emotion.
I am. I mean, tonight I really expected tonight to be like 6-1 Bruins. I really did. I thought they'd get the momentum from Wednesday. I thought, and then Coyle scores right away. I'm like, this is going to be a cakewalk, just like they thought.
Yeah. Oh, they thought
this is going to be great. Yeah. Like they're going to win this game easily. Or whatever.
I thought it was going to be like a 4-2, 5-2 game. I did.
I thought so. And then, Pittsburgh scores the goal, with 0.8 to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you got to be fucking. I think I said it out loud. You got to be fucking kidding me.
Yeah.
Like, honestly. Like, I even looked away from the TV because there was 6 seconds left and there was a face-off, and I just kind of looked away. I looked back, and they're celebrating. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Like, really? 0.8. So, and then they score the goal, and as soon as that happened, when they went down 2-1, I just had a feeling they weren't going to score again. And then the stat about 1 goal in the third period all season at home.
Yeah. When they went down 2-1, I was pretty sure they lost the game.
Yeah. They're not scoring that goal. I don't know what to tell you. All right, fan comments. Let's get after it.
Yeah.
T-Boss, who was on here at 8:30. Not bad so far. Weird push by Sway on that goal. Didn't look ready. That was probably pretty true. His sip tonight is eggnog infused with Buffalo Trace bourbon, Garner stir, hot honey glazed cinnamon stick. Oh my God, the diabetes written
T-Boss
all over that. But
T-Boss is coming through big. I really enjoy the T-Boss drink count. That, you know what? That's probably what I'm going to be looking forward to most in these post games from now on, because this team fucking infuriates me to no end. So terrible. The only positives and the only positive takeaways that I'm going to get from these damn things is the sips from T-Boss and Adrienne, and whoever else wants to join in. Give us your sips.
Right.
Tonight I'm drinking water because I'm feeling it from yesterday a little bit.
Yeah.
So
So here's what I was thinking. We're gonna do 3 bourbons. We're gonna do a start bench cut on the video this weekend because we're gonna see each other tomorrow. Okay.
Yep.
So we're gonna do a start bench cut with 3 bourbons. So I want people out here in the comments to give us 3 bourbons that we could possibly find that we can use on a start bench cut, and we'll taste them, we'll videotape it, and we'll start bench cut the 3 of them. How about that? All right. Kind of sucks to listen to Eddie Olczyk cover this game with TNT. Yeah, Eddie, look, I don't know what the problem is with Eddie, but he seems to be all over the Bruins.
was he a Penguin?
He was a Blackhawk and a Ranger. Was he a Penguin?
I feel like he was.
He might have been late. He might have been late. I'm gonna have to look up the Eddie Olczyk now.
I mean, people say all the time, like the national broadcasters are always against their team.
Played on the Penguins for 2 seasons.
Played on the Penguins
there
for
you
2
go.
seasons. Okay, so there you go.
There you go.
So
Do that what you will.
people always say the national broadcasters are against their team. It's because the national broadcasters generally don't do research and don't know the
They
team
don't.
well
They don't.
as the
There's a quick interview with the coach like the day before.
as the local guys.
Yeah.
But
Right.
with Olczyk,
Right.
he actually said at one point during the broadcast tonight, I was really hoping the Penguins would get more traffic in front.
Mm.
What? What now? That's a homer. That's a Penguins guy calling a Penguins game.
Right.
The national broadcasters, as far as I know, are supposed to be, impartial. Are supposed to be neutral. That's not the case with that motherfucker calling Bruins games. It just isn't.
It just isn't.
So all that, the national broadcasters, they don't know the team, so they just say what they say. That's not true with him. He is against the Bruins, plain and simple.
He is.
So there you go.
Everything he can to say something against the Bruins. It's just. How about the line changes? T-Boz talks about the line changes. I don't mind the lines. Like, I think they get. I mean, I don't know. Look at. We need to stop the carousel with the lines. Like, what better line combination you're going to have unless you bring back Patra, unless you bring up Lysell and try some different things with some younger guys. But what else do you have? I mean, they've had every type of combination of line you can imagine. None of it works. They can't finish.
No,
none of it works.
They did mix them up a little bit in the third. I think it was Coyle with Marchand and somebody at one point, and they generated a little something. So maybe you'll see a change at the end. But they had one goal, so the lines they have, I guess, aren't working, even though they had 6 in the last game. So I don't know. I mean, maybe you do switch them up just to see if you can. Get a spark and go with that. Personally, and I've said it before, I would bring up the young kids, give an infusion of newer, younger energy. Maybe they'll turn it over, but Parker Wallace-Barnes turning it over. Morgan Geeky's turning it over. Trent Frederick's turning it over. Trent Frederick should be watching a game from up top.
He should be.
There's no godly reason why that guy hasn't been scratched yet.
No.
None. He hasn't deserved to get the ice. He hasn't deserved to get the ice time he's gotten.
And he doesn't make $6 million a year. Like that's not an excuse either. Just sit the guy.
Sit the guy. Sit him. Geeky sat a bunch of times. Why hasn't Frederick sat?
Yeah.
What the hell does he do?
Yeah, I don't know. Nothing. Zero. Nothing. And he doesn't do anything that you want him to do either. He doesn't ever mind scoring goals. He doesn't mix it up. He doesn't do much of anything. I don't know what his purpose is, to be honest. How about the 1T? We have a few people talking about the 1T and how and we've talked about it earlier tonight. Like, that's something that they just try overly trying the 1T to Pastrnak, like, especially in the power play. It's like, find a different thing to do. Like, just find something else to do. Get it below the goal line and try to do some things around the net. Just try to shove it in there. Like, just try to get some rebound, a greasy goal or something. Like, it's just not working. And you got Brazeau, who's willing to get in the front of the net. Like, play to his strength. Like, just try to get it toward the net, and you can maybe get something going around the goaltender. I don't know. It's just, It's not working. It's overdone. It's over scouted. I mean, it's just not working. And the sense of urgency is another thing. The Rat says, the sense of urgency just wasn't there after the Coyle goal. It was just like, it's gonna be another night where we beat another bad team, just like the Islanders. And you almost lost to the Islanders too. Like this, let's not forget that you were on the ropes in the third period against the Islanders too. Until Sacco scores and you kind of exhale a little bit, but you were on the ropes there too. Like, I mean, T Slizzy, welcome. Someone has to talk about this team in the third period. Yes, and we have. It's one goal at home in the third period, and it's
and it was on opening night.
And it's on opening.
It was
night.
October 10th. It is today, November 29th.
Mm-hmm.
That is almost 3 months ago.
2 months ago. Yeah,
2 months ago.
Almost 2 months ago. It seems like 3 months ago.
I mean, if it seems like a long time.
I mean, it was 20. It was 25. It was 24 games ago. 24 games ago. It was. So
more than a quarter of the season, and they have one goal.
They have one goal. Their goal differential in the third period not strong. The goal differential period isn't strong.
No, it's one of the worst in the league.
They don't. Their stars don't. Their best players aren't the best players on the ice in the third period. I mean, that's where it comes down to. Their best players are not the best players on the ice in the third period enough, and that's why they aren't good. Matthew Curtis says this team is cooked, and I'll tell you what. I don't know if they're cooked or whatever, but they are who they are. So it's just going to be a win 2, lose 2, win 1, lose 1 situation all season long. It's going to be up and down. It's going to be 500-ish. You're going to be battling 5 teams to get into the playoffs, and see what happens. I guess I looked ahead toward April, and they've got some really good teams on the schedule in April. Like the end of the season is not that easy. Like, if this comes down to April and they have to win some games, they might not. They might not. They got the Devils a couple times. I think they got Carolina in there. They got some tough teams.
I'm going to go back to one of the reasons that they can't play offense. And I've said it coming out of the defensive end, but I think it's a team-wide thing. Their passing is just bad. How many times do you see them go tape to tape in the course of a shift? It's not enough.
No,
it's not enough. Like a pass is in a skate. It's behind a guy. It's not like easy passes.
Mm-hmm.
Lowry had one coming out of his zone tonight. That was an easy pass. And he put it like a foot and a half in front of Zacha's stick and it went for an icing. He was not being challenged. Zacha was not being challenged. It was an easy fucking pass, like 12 feet up the left wing boards. And he just missed. Like, you can't do that as an NHL player. You can't just miss an easy pass to complete up the boards with no pressure.
Right.
You just can't. And this team does it fucking routinely all the time. All the time.
All the time. All the time.
And it's hard to play offense when you can't pass the puck to your guys.
Right. 100%.
I'll go back to that.
And how many tape to tape, like in that game period, like the Penguins was shit ass too. Like how many bad passes? Like I was searching for a tape to tape pass. Like I even was looking for it at one point. I'm like, Jesus, the passing this game is awful. Like it's just horrific. And the Bruins, you got a guy, they don't even pass it to like, and it's unforced, and the guy's wide open, and they're still reaching for pucks and in their feet. And I mean, my God, like what are you doing? Like it just feels like they play this hot potato game where they just fire it. There's a difference between passing it to your teammate and throwing it at your teammate. It's two different things. Mm-hmm. Like in his direction, or are you putting it in a place where he can succeed? And they don't play fast. Everybody talks about how they don't play fast, and that's one of the reasons why. And Brickley,
it's the biggest reason why.
Is that they don't pass it correctly, so that they are taking it with speed. Brickley says it on the broadcast.
Yeah,
is that you can play faster without being all that fast if you pass it properly.
Yeah,
and that's what they don't do.
100%.
Yeah,
That's why they're not a good transition team. That's why they're not a good off the rush team.
Right.
That's why they're not a good cycle team. They don't. It's hard to make play to score goals when you can't pass the puck to a teammate to get a shot off. You know, it's impossible to play fast and do all the things they want to do if you can't just complete a pass. It should be one of the easiest things in the game to do, but it's not. And they have a team full of guys who can't do it. And
team full.
It's gonna hold them back. And it has held them back.
Sure has. Yeah. Matt Papa says, have we seen enough from Freddie One Hand yet? That sounds like I was Matty One Hand and Matty Right Hand in college sometimes, but Freddie One Hand is driving all of us crazy. He's driven us crazy for a couple of years ago. We were on this guy, like when we first started this podcast in 2020.
Yeah,
or whatever it was, 2021 or whatever the hell it was, 4 seasons ago, that we were on the whipping boy. Trent Frederick, couldn't stand him. I questioned whether or not he could play NHL hockey.
Yeah.
And here we are back again. Here we are back again with Freddie One Hand. I mean, he's just as useless right now, because he's not doing anything. He's not even being tough. He's not even being scrappy. He's not doing anything.
Yeah.
At all.
And you can find those episodes if you want. You can go back and
go ahead back to the archives.
Go back.
And you can listen to us rip Trent Frederick.
Yeah.
And question his integrity over and over again. Tristan Jarry tonight made him look like Ken Dryden. Jarry hasn't been good this season.
No.
And tonight sparkled. Just sparkling.
First time all year. He's had back-to-back wins.
Yes. Pejman says it was like Dominic Hasek out there tonight. It was Hasek versus us. And he won Hasek 2.0. Goaltending, defense, not a strength of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Not. No. We are fucking 24 karat gold plated, Maddie. Sorry, John. Yes, we are. Beth, this team will not be ready any playoff run. Correct. Adrienne said it was depressing.
Yeah,
she's correct.
Yeah.
No Grease from D. Infuriating team to watch, as we agree with. And it's who they are, which is what we agree with.
Yeah.
This is what you get. T-Boss says the secret to a great smoked brisket: wrap it with some Wagyu beef tallow at the 167 degree mark to finish. Okay. It sounds.
Is he having a private conversation with someone else?
Did you just like put like something in tomorrow's menu in the chat by mistake? Or yeah. But yeah, I'll be sure to do that, T-Buzz. Can he do it with a hamburger too? Or
can you do that for us when we come down to Tampa?
Do it with a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah, do it for
us. How do you cook an Uncrustable, T-Boz?
Yeah, how do you do that properly?
I cook a peanut butter and jelly Uncrustable.
You need to wrap that in Wagyu. Beth, we just made Jarry look like a top goalie, and that's correct. Oz, man, oh man, it will be a long season. Every pod seems to have a conservative reasoning about a trade. We cannot be in for the Kreiders because we'll have to give. The only thing Bees have a surplus of is middle six guys at best. You won't get a needle mover for that. Nope. Except if Don has another Taylor Hall trade up his sleeve. And that's only, Oz, because Hall demanded to come here.
Right.
Like that's what happens. I mean, that's why it was such a slam dunk.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's his point. I think that's Oz's point is like you're not going to be able to get anybody of any substance unless a player is saying, I only want to go to the Bruins. And look, why at this point in time would anyone want to come here?
And I'm telling you this, Oz, we are the only pod who doesn't have a conservative reasoning. We just say there's nobody there to trade.
Yeah, they don't have enough guys. They don't have enough guys. They don't have enough guys to trade.
Yeah.
They just don't. They don't have anybody other teams want.
Yeah.
You know, they just don't. Unless you're looking to make a blockbuster trade of, a Pastrnak, a McAvoy, a Marchand, a Swayman. Unless you're willing to do that, you're not going to get anything back in return.
Yeah.
And look, I would be willing to trade one of those guys. I'm up for it.
I'm willing to do it too. I really am.
I think the core needs a shakeup. I think the locker room needs a shakeup. And the team overall needs a shakeup. And you say, where do you go from here? I think where you go is the bottom of the league. Mm-hmm. And, you're going to have to suffer through some bad seasons.
You are.
And you hope you get a generational talent in the draft and you start to build that way. And maybe you do have to trade off some of your core guys because you're not going to be a contender while they're in their primes. Marchand's past his prime now. Pasta's coming into it. McAvoy's coming into it. Swayman will be around. But I guess goalies last a little longer and, into their 30s than regular skaters do. But yeah, you might have to trade some of those guys if you go to the bottom of the league and you start to build from there. Is it the best thing? Not for regular fans while you're watching and years are melting away, but for the long-term health and wellness of the organization. And if you want them to actually win again, yeah, that's probably what has to happen. They have to go to the bottom of the league. That's what all the great teams that are out there now have done. Mm-hmm. Tampa was at the bottom of the league. Florida's guys, Barkov, Ekblad, they were top, 10 picks. Mm-hmm. Colorado's guys were top picks. Mm-hmm. That's what you need to do in order to have really good players on your team. Plain and simple.
You bet. Charlie Sacchetti says, not enough talent up front. You are correct, Charlie. Craig says, fucking Bruins infuriating to watch. Correct. Bruins meet. Geeky needs to get off the top 6. He is horrible. And I think Geeky's been better, but look, he's a third liner. He's a third liner. So you're putting him up there. And even when he plays fairly well for him, it's not enough because he's not a top 6. He's certainly not a top line guy. So that's an issue. I mean, that just speaks to their lack of talent. Yeah. And it's distorted. People are playing out of position. They're playing above where they need to be. So Geeky should be on a line with Frederick and Coyle, third line. I've said that from day one.
The Bruins right now, realistically, probably have 3 top 6 guys.
3. Yeah, they do.
I would say.
And you can make a decision whether or not Zacha or Lindholm is that guy.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. It's probably Zacha or Lindholm, but then Pastrnak and Marchand. And after that, you don't have any top 6 guys.
Yeah.
You have a bunch of third line guys, a bunch of them.
I would even argue that Lindholm is a third line, really good third line center on a really good team. On a cup winning team, he's a third line center.
I would agree.
That's what I would really say that. Now Zacha, he can play wing. He's a second line winger. I mean, he's okay as second line wing. He's okay. As long as everybody else is strong, he's fine. But Lindholm, third line center. Coyle, third line center. And then everybody else, fourth line. It's just not. They're out of order. So this is what you get. Steven says Pasta attempts to pass, but it's to the other team. Well, that is true. Bruins meet early on. They were getting the puck in deep. Not sure why they stopped doing it. That's another thing, is how they play is something that we've always been on, but how they play. Either you make a decision, you try to carry it in, which you can't because you don't have skilled enough players, or you dump it in and go get it, but are you fast enough to go get it? So they're in between. It's almost like they're in between how they should play or who can play offensively.
Yeah, I don't like the way they play offense. I've said that for a long time. I don't think they have a particular identity. They say play hard to play against. I don't know what that means. I don't think they know what it means. And
I don't think they know what it means.
I really don't. I don't think that I think it's a bunch of lip service, just like everything else this team has ever done. It's lip service. They all say the right things for the most part. But when it comes to doing it on the ice, they don't do it. They Very little.
I love a media member to ask someone, okay,
compete.
tell me, define play hard to be hard to play against. Define that. I'd like a media member, like when they have Sweeney on the podium, to say, Don, could you do me a favor and just explain hard to play against in terms, like define that for me. And so I would love to see what he says. I would love to hear what he says.
But that's, what he'll say is the same old bullshit. We want to be hard on pucks. We want to be hard on the forecheck.
Win the battles.
Win battles on the wall. Be hard in front of our own net. Be hard in front of their net.
Are they any of that? Are they any of that?
Bullshit.
But they aren't any of that.
No, because it's lips. Because it's like made up. They've never really been that. It's all just made up. That's not their game. It's never really been their game. Mm-hmm. Even when they were really good, that wasn't really their game. Mm-hmm. Except maybe if you want to go all the way back to 10-11, those guys were hard in front of their own net, and they were hard to play against because they would fucking destroy you.
Yeah, they would.
You can't. The league's not that. It's not the same league anymore. So you have to evolve and you have to change. And what is this front office and team horrible at doing? Changing and making adjustments.
There's no change. No. They are who they are.
They go the wrong way with the roster. That's a really awesome, smart decision.
Yeah. They go backwards
big and slow instead of fast and skilled. Well, that's what you want to do. And now you can't score any fucking goals because you're slow and you can't move and you can't hit because you can't catch anyone and you can't pass because you have a bunch of lumbering idiots that can't get going, can't get their acceleration up to skate. So this is what you're left with. A roster.
And then when they do, the puck is behind them at all in their feet. And the thing is that they confused big with tough. Like, we've talked about this, like not tough enough. So let's go get a bunch of 6'4" guys that are 210 pounds or 220 pounds. That still doesn't mean you're tough enough. Like that you were out toughed by other teams. You were outworked by other teams. You're out skilled by other teams. Yeah. That's why you lost. You didn't lose because you weren't 6'5". Like,
it's not 1988 anymore.
No, it's not.
It's not 1988. That's not going to work now. No. In this day and age.
Odyssey's 84 says you go Poitras from here. And how's Poitras doing? Do you know? I'm not paying attention to it. How is he doing? Does anybody know? Like I saw him set up a goal the other night, and I saw some clips here and there about him making some decent smart plays and all that. And he is a playmaking center. You are correct, and they don't have any. So I think that. I just thought it was good for him to go down and play 20 minutes a game in Providence for a while.
He's got 6 games, 3 assists, 3 points, and is a +1.
Okay. So he's been okay. He's been fine. You'd like to see him kind of dominate down there. But you have to make a decision pretty soon. Are you gonna bring Lysell up? You're gonna bring guys up and give him a chance, or because if you keep waiting and you're in the playoff hunt, you won't do it then. So, is Lysell going to go another year without any NHL experience? Like, I don't know if that's smart. Donovan says, go ahead.
I feel like at this point you have to see what you have there.
Yeah, I do. I do too.
Yeah, I don't get the whole. We have a goal scoring problem, and we have a guy who could potentially score goals, but we're not going to give him a chance. We're going to give all the other guys down there a chance, but not him. Like I just don't. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I mean, are they worried about him getting hurt? Is he still too slight? Does he put himself in bad positions?
What was the purpose of Mark McLaughlin comes up, plays one game, and he sits the other two or whatever?
Yeah,
like he was red hot, I guess, in Providence, but then you bring him up and he sits. Like, if you're gonna bring him up, play him. And if you're not going to play him, send him back down. Like, what are you doing?
I really feel like the way the management and the coaching staff handle player development is a problem on the team. And, I just don't think they get enough out of their guys or give their guys a fair shake a lot of the time. I just don't.
I'm with you. I'm absolutely with you. Craig says, let's see, Craig Leave is on there. He says, I must say to you two beauties, I wouldn't be able to deal with these shit games without these videos. Keep it up. Thank you, Craig.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Craig.
that. Thank
Appreciate
you,
it.
Craig. Craig
You're a
Leave,
beauty as well.
my guy. But he also says, can you explain why they drafted Lowry or keep him on this roster and only give him 12 seconds on the power play? McAvoy is not Bork and never will be. Fuck. So why doesn't why doesn't Lowry get more PP?
He should. I think it's like a bullshit seniority thing. McAvoy was there first. They paid him, so now
they just are afraid to do that with their quote unquote stars. Like they don't.
That's why I feel like
ride them.
They need a coach,
right,
who's going to make some hard decisions, and who has the backing of the management group to make some hard decisions.
Well, I think that's more of it. I think that the management group dictates much more than we think they do.
Yeah, I agree.
Like
I think so too. I think so too.
And that's what Monty's problem was. On the ice, they really dictate who comes up, who comes. Monty said it.
Yeah,
he said it. That's Evan Gold and Don Sweeney who bring people up and put them down. Like this, he almost seemed like it was no say in it. Like,
right.
So they're dictating who plays, and it's infuriating that Riley Tufte gets a shot and all these other guys get a shot when there are people in your system that you need to develop that don't. And you keep doing this journeyman thing with these guys who have no future. Like they have no future in the league. Like they're going to bounce around and be out. Like they're not part of your future. The guys who are part of your future, why don't you give them more of a chance? And you almost expect these guys, these young guys, to be perfect, play perfectly. Because if they don't play perfectly one time, then they sit on the bench and rot like Merkulov did last year, and then you send them back down for one mistake. When I'm watching Pastrnak and Marchand and McAvoy make mistake after mistake after mistake and shit-ass play and laziness and all this stuff and carelessness over and over again, and then one young guy makes one bad play, and then you ostracize them. You just sit them down. You just send them. Like I don't get that philosophy at all.
I don't understand how Trent Frederick can be a -12 in 12 games or whatever he is and not get scratched, and these guys don't get a chance. Like, how does Frederick keep getting chance after chance? At least McAvoy is playing defense in his own end, for the most part, and at least Pastrnak and Marchand are somewhat producing. Freddie's done zero. And he still gets every game. Never been scratched. So how is that possible that Frederick keeps getting fucking ice time and you can't give Lysell or Merkulov or somebody else, one of these guys, call Poitras back up and give him a chance? Like I just don't understand it at all.
I don't.
It just doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. Adrian says the sip tonight was hot chocolate at our little town's Christmas tree lighting because we are basically living in Mayberry. No adult beverages tonight. Smitty would not be allowed in the town of Adrian.
Adrian. That's what nips are for, girlfriend.
Yeah. That's what
bring a little Baileys in there.
Yep.
Bring a little Baileys with you and throw a little of that right into the old hot chocolate.
Oh,
and now you're having a great time at the tree light.
The Baileys. I went to a botanical gardens type of thing, lighting, and got a hot chocolate, which was $3, and decided I'm going to throw a Bailey shot in there because they were offering it. I'm like, oh yeah, Bailey shot. Well, that turned into $16, but I'll tell you what, it was hella good. It tasted good, but it was $16 all of a sudden.
It cost $13
for a Bailey
nip of Bailey's.
Correctamundo. Yeah,
that's why you got to be. I mean,
yeah,
you got to be like the mom who brings the snacks to the movie theater. So
Oh yeah, I used to do that. My daughter Riley would have this winter jacket. And stuff with raisinets and gobstoppers and goobers and all that shit.
Yeah,
and then we walk in. She'd walk in like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Right.
And we walk in there and we eat like horses.
You got to think ahead, brother. You got to.
Do you want to hear a funny but not so funny story about kind of smuggling in alcohol and fun stuff?
Okay.
Back in the day, everybody knows, the hometowns have their high school football games around Easter, and you play the rival high schools, yada yada. Well, when I was in high school, my parents' age group, they had a friend of theirs who became a priest, and he was awesome. He wasn't your typical priest. He was pretty, liberal on some things, if you will. And what he would do is he would wrap up bottles of alcohol in, towels and stuff and smuggle it in to the high school football games. So all of the parents and friends could get nice and toasty in their coffees and hot chocolate while watching the high school football game.
All right.
There you go.
God bless you, Father.
Yeah. For I have sinned.
For I have sinned.
Yes.
Here's you want to hear a good smuggling story? When I was in college, I had a friend of mine, an acquaintance, before spring weekend. There was a concert that was gonna be held at the football stadium, and it was just general admission, so anybody could go in. And before the night before the concert, my friend went in and buried a keg at the 50-yard line in the football field, and brought the tap in with him. So when we went into the concert, he just plugged the tap in, and then we had a tap.
Oh my God!
From the night before. God. That's
that's like some Ocean's 11 shit.
That's some genius shit right there.
Oh my God! Buried it.
Yeah. Wow. Shout out to Jim Dearbaugh. Attaboy.
Okay. All right, Jimmy. Peshman says, sip tonight and every other night watching this team is 151 straight from the bottle. You center. You center.
Peshman.
Odyssey says, if I were in Don's shoes, I'd hold my cards close to the chest for the rest of this 10-game stretch. Try one or two from Providence. And if nothing changes, you need to wave the white flag. When do you think they wave the white flag, or if they do? They got to go on a stretch where they just really.
I don't
6 in a row.
Yeah, I don't think they'll wave the white flag at all.
Right, I think they'll go to the last
unless by Christmas, they've lost like 10 or 12 or something like that and fallen way down and have a bunch of teams to hop over. I just don't think that's them. I don't think that's in their nature. I don't think that's what ownership wants. I don't think that's what management wants. Obviously, they're trying to keep their jobs. So I just don't think they will. I don't think they'll wave the white flag. I think they'll be fighting right to the last day, figuratively.
I don't think I think that's why no kids are up right now and Johnson's in and everything. I think they're trying to get every point they can so that they can just get to the playoffs, like just get us in so that we can save our jobs, because that's really all the ownership wants is.
Yeah, I mean, I probably agree that that's probably what they're doing, but I really feel like they would be better off if they gave the kids a chance. Like, I think the kids could give them a shot of energy. Some of these other guys that they need. I think they bring some creativity. All three of those guys, Patra, Lysell, and Merkulov.
No, you said it. You said it last. You said just put them all on the third line. Let's put them all in one line together.
Yeah, I mean, of course, the third line scores after I say that. The third line scores tonight in the first minute of the game.
Of course.
But the third line has been a black hole for a while.
Yes.
You got two guys on there who combined minus 20 something.
Yeah.
For crying out loud.
And tonight doesn't mean that changes. I mean, they could go another 5 games looking like shit. So,
Yeah. So I mean, I would give the young kids a chance, and I think that could give the team some energy, and I think it might help them score some goals, honestly. Yeah. And I think they'd probably be better off with those guys on the team than some of the people that are here right now. I do.
Yeah. Ilsley says, I didn't see Olczyk pull Swayman skate off the post. Nope, you did not. That was one he'd probably want back. Bruins meet. Half the league wants to make hockey trades. There are teams out there that you could find good trades with. Tomasino just went to Pittsburgh for a 4th rounder. Of course, he scores tonight. He looks fine tonight in their top 6. That was a good pickup for them, obviously.
Yeah, but he's like
Tomasino. He's like the other guys you have.
He had no goals this year before that point. So let's not pretend like they traded for Jake Gensel or somebody like that. Like
Chris Kreider.
I mean, it was another a nobody that they're trying to plug in. And look, they have Sidney Crosby. So when you can plug in a guy next to Crosby, automatically that guy's going to be better.
So
he's going to get a jump. He's going to get some juice playing with a Crosby or a Malkin that you don't get here. You don't bring guys in and play them automatically with, Pastrnak or Marchand. Like that's not what you do. You play them with Charlie Coyle or Trent Frederick. And then they stink, and then you wonder why. Hey, why did we trade for that guy? He didn't do anything for us. Well, did you give him a chance to succeed? Not really.
Not really. Yeah, not really. Here's a question for you. Mikko Rantanen of the Avalanche seems to want $14 million a year.
Yeah.
The Avalanche are not going above McKinnon, who makes 12.5, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Do you think? Would you do?
Yes.
If it's available, Rantanen Pastrnak.
Oh, Rantanen for Pastrnak? You don't need to. Rantanen's a UFA. You just got to pay him.
At the end of this year. Oh,
Yeah.
so you wouldn't make the trade? I'm saying
No.
you wouldn't make like a trade. Okay.
Nope.
So you would sign Rantanen for 14.
Sure, I would. It's not my fucking money. I don't care.
Right. You would sign him. For 14.
If you're gonna look, would I rather have Rantanen than Elias Lindholm and Zadorov? Bet your fucking sweet ass I would.
Yeah.
You want to 7, 5, and 5 that you gave to those two clowns and give it to him instead? Yes, I'm on board. 100%.
Yeah. Right. Oh, you're right. Yeah, they put it that way. Yes, if you can get rid of those contracts, sure. I would.
Well, I mean, the cap's going up, so pay them. You need talent. Pay them.
Here's another question. Then, just aside from that, so let's say last year you decide we can't get a center that's adequate enough, so we don't get Lindholm. Okay, we save that money. Okay, and then we get maybe another guy. Maybe you don't. Whatever. But then now you have the money coming up this year for Rant.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So now, like we said, instead of trying to chase the center, which you can't get the wings who can score. So now you get Rantanen because you have that money you have money available, and you pay Rantanen. You have Rantanen and Pastrnak.
Well, look, maybe you do this. You instead of getting those two guys, you spend the money on Gensel. Maybe you have to give Gensel a little bit more. That's all right. So you do. You have to give him a little bit more so he doesn't go to Tampa. But then you have Gensel. And then this coming year, you can get Rantanen. Now you're cooking because you have Pastrnak, Gensel, Marchand, Rantanen, Zacha. That's a decent top 6.
Yeah, sure.
So,
right, 100%.
Yeah, you'll have to pay some guys, but you're bringing in elite talent. You're bringing in guys who score goals. Guys who can score goals consistently in the league all the time. So, guys who have scored 30 or more, a bunch.
Sure.
Other than Pastrnak and, maybe Marchand, you don't have that. You don't have another guy on the team that scored 30 goals.
You don't. Nope. Ricker 2024. Thanks for the comment. Sweeney needs to take the blame next, not a coach issue. That's 100% true.
I think he should take some blame already.
Right now. Yeah, right now.
I think
you're seeing right now it's not a coaching issue. I mean, they have some serious deficiencies on the team.
Yeah.
Now the way Monty handled it and all that stuff, that still matters to me. But at the end of the day, it's not a coaching thing. It's a roster issue. Jared McKinnon, good to have you and good to hear from you. First against Swayman, I think he was respecting the tech move by Crosby. I probably would as well. It said the kid, but he passed and Sway was down and out. So that might be true. Sway did make that great save on the 2-on-0 with Crosby, which I thought was definitely a goal. I thought Crosby should go high short side, but he decided to go back and try to go 5-hole, and Swayman made a big save there at that time.
David Ilse said, I just want to get Sweeney's confused, hard to play against with hard to watch. And
also says Derek's keys of the game. You're allowed to score goals in the third period.
Yeah, that is a key.
Yeah, that's for sure. Aussie Bruins missed the game tonight. No TVs in Montreal showing the bees. That's a shocker. The locals really didn't appreciate my Bruins cap I was wearing. We appreciate you though, Aussie.
Yeah,
nearly got run over 3 times today. The Canadians come in Sunday, and hopefully they don't beat our bag off.
Mhm.
Bruins will need to make hockey trades, risky business. That's not their MO, Odysseys, but I like your style. Adrian gives us a bourbon vote. Will always be Wild Turkey 101, but she's not fancy, and we don't need fancy here, if you noticed. So you should listen to T-Boss, and we will do that as well. Annabelle Joseph. Hello, Annabelle. Team building trip to the optometrist. Passing improves. That might be true, Annabelle. That might be
I love
true.
that idea, Annabelle.
I
love that idea.
The optometrist.
Everybody.
Hey, they talk to the team psychologist all the time. Let's talk to the optometrist.
Ford F1. It's not the Ford F-150 anymore. It's the Final Five. It's the Lens Crafters Final Five. No.
Lens Crafters. Oh God. Malcolm almost beheads Swayman in the blue paint. No Bruin retaliated. That's a story. I thought for sure Zadorov took a number there and was going to come back, and I mean he'd love to have Malkin and did that thing on the bench, but I thought Zadorov was going to come out for someone's head later on in the game, but nope, had nothing from him. No response at all. The problem with Freddie is the team he is on. It reminds me of Hathaway or Lozon on the Bruins. They handcuff their grinders and power forwards. Well, Hathaway was a disappointment, Bruins meet. I will say that. I thought he'd come in, be an agitator, be the type of guy he was with Washington. He was not. He wasn't really a needle mover at all. And that playoff run, that was a disappointment.
I think it goes to system. And I think the Bruins, I agree with Bruins meet that I do not think that they let their guys who want to play on the edge play on the edge. I think they think that the Bruins are above playing that way. I think that goes all the way back to Claude with Marchand and some of the antics that he had, and that's not how we want to portray the Bruins, as a brand kind of a thing. It was like, that's not how the Bruins play. That's not the Bruins way. We don't dive. We're above that. All this kind of crap, like with the Canadians throwing their head backs for years and getting all the power plays. And the Bruins are like, oh, we're not going to play that way. We're above that. And then they keep beating you on the scoreboard.
Sure.
So I do agree with that to a certain degree. I think Hathaway wasn't really a fit for their system. They didn't want to get in hard on the forecheck. I would love them to play that way. I want to see them play more like the Carolina Hurricanes. Honestly, that's the style I want them to play. I want them to be hard, aggressive, relentless on the forecheck. I want them to bang the defenseman, wear them down, and the defenseman will start to turn pucks over. The Bruins will be better in the third periods if that's the case. If the other defensemen are weak, other defense is weak, and they turn pucks over.
Sure.
I think that's part of the reason they were so good in third periods in previous years, is because they used to play more that way.
Sure.
And kind of got away from it. And it's more of a, as soon as they don't have possession of the puck, they fall back into a trap.
Right. Sure.
And it doesn't lead itself to, heavy forechecks. And, that's kind of disappointing.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, there it is. Josh Patera. Thanks for the comment, Josh. Welcome. Power play is horrible. And that is correct. Rob Spector, beef tallow would not categorically not help Freddie's finish. I don't know if that's meant to be a double negative, but it doesn't help it. Nothing helps Freddie's finish. Mid of January, after the Florida trip, we'll surely know the direction of them, says Odysseys. Toronto, Edmonton, Tampa Bay twice, and Florida. Brutal but honest assessment. That's a good point. Mid-January, keep an eye out for that. That's good. Good insight. I think that's a great stretch right there. Well, I mean, you could lose all those.
Yeah, you'll know where you should know where you stand at that point. And
right before Four Nations and all that. So
yeah. By the way, just an aside, Bruins average goal differential in the third period under Claude Julien was plus 78.
Plus 78. Wow. Playing a style that Cam Neely hated and everybody hated. But I'll tell you what, and I'll say it again. This team should play that style.
So 100% should.
This team should play that style. This team would be better off with Claude Julien right now.
100%.
And I'm not saying that as like I love Claude Julien. I'm saying that as this team isn't good enough and should play Claude Julien style.
Yeah.
Like, even though I hate it, even though I don't want to watch it.
Yeah.
Like, that's what they should play.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with Cam. I don't like. I don't want to win games 0-0. I don't.
No.
So I don't like watching it either. But this team needs that. That's the style this team needs to play in order to win games because they're not good enough.
Yeah. Zach Haste. Hello, Zach. Correct about Geeky in the top 6. Yeah, Geeky is not top 6 material. Let's see. Let me see. Beth Lang. We have no speed, and that's correct. Can't pass worth the shit. That's also correct. Hasmick. Hello, Hasmick. I think they crushed his confidence sending him down, meaning Poitras. I'm not sure. Poitras was surprised, which I didn't love. Like, how were you surprised? Like someone talking to him, or are you just deciding, on a whim? Like, no one ever said anything to him, like this could happen or nothing.
It sounds like Sweeney didn't communicate it
at all. So that's what I had a problem with, and maybe
and
you're right.
And so he probably was crushed because he probably didn't expect it at all. He's a 22-year-old or whatever he is, 21-year-old kid. He probably had no idea, and all of a sudden they're like, "Yeah, you're going down."
Okay.
Yeah. And no one even told him. They're just like, his bags are packed, and they're like, "Get the fuck out of here. Going to Providence.
Sure. Yeah.
Going to Hershey to play the Bears tomorrow."
Yeah. Woo. Yeah. T-Buzz says bourbon that you guys can find easily that is good. Larceny, barrel proof preferably. Elijah Craig and Angel's Envy.
All right, we need a screenshot of this.
Yeah, screenshot
so we can keep that.
And we might do some wild turkey for Adrian just as an
done
aside.
and done.
All right, there we go.
Boy, this is what top producers do.
Mm-hmm.
Not all 6'4" guys can't skate, and that's true, Beth. Not all 6'4" guys can't. You just got to get the right ones. I think Kepke can skate.
Yeah,
like, he has good bursts. Kastelic. Yeah, I don't mind.
Max Jones is supposed to be able to skate too, but
he's skating somewhere. I don't know.
Skating on the line with Poitras and Lysell.
Yeah. T-Bar says Maddie smells like Sweeney puppeteering Sacco balls with the call-ups. I think it happens with this team. I think the management, I think Sweeney has a real thumbprint on what happens on the ice. I don't think that's a good thing. I don't think it's a good thing at all.
It's not a good thing at all.
No, it's not a good thing at all.
Terrible thing.
So that is not good. Perhaps Providence and Sweeney can't develop talent. I think that might be true, D. I think that might be absolutely true. Trent Frederick is just a post to skate around because he just stands there. And I think that's true. There's been a lot of times where not a lot of second effort from him, like not a lot of grinding play from him, which is how he needs to play. He's not a great skater. Like, he needs to play a more grinding thing. Dell says, hi, Dell. How big a loss is DeBrusk? You know what? The problem is I don't know if I necessarily miss DeBrusk. It's just that they didn't replace it. Like, they just didn't. Like, DeBrusk isn't doing any great things in Vancouver. He's been fine. He's okay. He's all right. But it's not like he's out there going to score 35, 40 goals or whatever. They do miss his speed. They do miss the fact he's a good two-way forward now. He made himself into that. But they never replaced him. Like, it's not so much I miss him, is that I just would love if they just replaced him with someone as adequate or better, like someone a little bit better than him. And they didn't do either. So that's my issue with it is Salty Bruins fan. Would you be opposed to the Bruins trading Marchand to a contender? If they retain his salary, they could probably get something better. Okay. So
before you answer it all the way, teaser that this clip from the episode yesterday will be live on YouTube, strictly just about the Marchand talk tomorrow morning.
Okay. Ready? Marchand, we talked about this on the pod. I would not be surprised if he does go somewhere. It would be to Colorado, play with Nathan McKinnon. Now, the problem with retaining salary, Salty, is that you don't have a lot of salary to play with to get someone in return. Now, if you're going to do it to get a couple of draft picks or a draft pick and a prospect or whatever, and you can do that thing salary cap wise, I would consider it, especially if Marchand wants to go. That's really where it lies. Like Marchand has to want to have this happen. If he does, then yeah, I would consider a high draft. If you can get a first rounder and a decent prospect, or a first and a second or something, sure. I mean, I would do that if you're not going to make the playoffs. And if he wanted to leave and go play with his buddy, sure, I'd do that.
I would consider it if Marchand wants to go. The question is, does Marchand want to go? I think the Bruins, if they fall out of it, will approach him probably and ask him if he wants to. I think they would give him that courtesy. I just don't think that he'll go anywhere. I just don't see it. I don't feel like he wants to go. He already has his cup, so I don't think he's going to leave. I think he takes great pride in the fact that he's the captain, whether that was the right choice, or whether that really fits him as well as it should. I'm not sure about that. I don't know if there was really a great alternative to Marchand, but I don't know if that really helps him as far as the game that he needs to play on the ice for the team. I think it changes the way he plays a little bit, and I'm not sure that makes him as successful as he could be, because I think he tones it down a little bit now that he's the captain, because he doesn't want to get into some of that, extracurricular stuff that he did before. So I don't know where it will end up eventually. Just because I don't think I just don't think he'll waive the no. I just don't think he'll move. I don't think he wants to move because he already has the cup.
Yeah. Craig Campbell says, Smitty and Maddie, can you guys suit up and get behind the bench? The Bruins need to hire you guys because Sweeney and Neely have reached the Peter principle. Love the show. Florida Bruins fan. Craig, thanks so much for listening. We're jealous you're in sunny, warm Florida. But yes, I mean, I'd certainly coach the team if they'd like me to. Here's the thing about Dell just asked in here, the Sweeney Neely combo survive the season? I really think Neely stays until he doesn't want to stay anymore. Now, I think Sweeney could lose his job if they don't make the playoffs. I don't think Neely's going anywhere. I think Neely's going to be the team president, like Harry Sinden, until he dies, or retires, or doesn't want to do it.
I think you're probably right.
I think he's the new Harry Sinden. I really do.
I think you're right. This team doesn't like change. I mean, you've talked about it before. They've had 4 general managers in 100 years. They don't like to make changes.
Right.
So unless something drastic happens, they don't like to change, make changes in the front office or coaches, really, for that matter. They don't like to do that either. They're slow to make changes across the board.
They are.
Always have been. By the way, Jake DeBrusk, 7 goals, 8 assists, 15 points. He would be 3rd on the team in scoring right now. So yes, they do miss Jake. Do I miss?
Oh, he's got 15 points, you said?
Yes.
Okay, 15 points in 25 games, whatever, which is fine. Not super or anything, but fine. It's fine. And that's still 3rd on your team. So yeah.
Marchand has
like
17.
that.
Pasta has a little more than that, but yeah.
Wow.
He would be 3rd on the team in scoring.
Good Lord. Seeker 22,000. Sweeney replaced DeBrusk with Johnson. What a genius. Yeah, well, that's funny.
He replaced him with Johnson, Tufty, Kepke, Jones.
Yeah.
So those are your Jake DeBrusk replacements.
Mm-hmm. Odyssey mentions the Hurricanes. I mean, they lost Pesce and Brady Shea, both top 4D, Gensel, and it's still steamrolling people.
Yeah.
And it's true. I mean, they were able to turn the roster over some and still stay extremely relevant.
Marty Nikash has leading the league in scoring. He has 37 points.
And he was an RFA that gave him a little bit of a trouble with signing. Yeah. And there was talk about them trading him.
There was
a lot. And Bruins were in on that and all that stuff. Like it was talk about that. Like there was a time when people thought it was a foregone conclusion he was going to be traded from them. and it turned around. He ended up signing, and here it is. He's a top scorer in the league. So
now I'm going to chime in here because I've talked to you guys about this before, that I am a huge fanboy for the Carolina Hurricanes and how they manipulate the cap. And Odyssey brings this up. Don Sweeney does not have the balls to do the things that the Carolina Hurricanes have done. Like he mentions that they lost Jake Gensel, but one of the things that is lost in that Jake Gensel trade with Pittsburgh last year is they traded multiple years of Michael Bunting at the same cap hit because he was not working, and they gave up on him early and made the move.
Right. So those are the moves that they need to make. They don't make risky moves, Sweeney. He just doesn't.
Well, they also don't admit to their own mistakes.
No, they don't. They don't.
So, like, that's what he's saying with Bunting. Like, they said they figured it out quickly. Bunting's not going to work in Carolina. We're going to move. He's not the player we thought he was. Whatever the case may be, he's not a fit here, and they moved on from him quickly. The Bruins don't do that ever. They don't move on from players quickly. They would never in a million years trade Zadorov or Lindholm, a guy that they just recently signed. It won't happen. That's not in their nature. That's not how they are. It should be. You see Zadorov up close and you're like, holy shit, this guy isn't what we thought he was. He's a penalty machine. He can't pass worth a damn. He's slow. He
gives it away.
He gets out of structure. He gives it away. He hasn't provided anything offensively. He doesn't fight really. He doesn't do the sticking up for teammate stuff. He's not very many scrums he's in. He doesn't really offer much at all. We should move on from him, but they won't.
They won't.
He'll be here.
He'll be here.
Maybe in the third or fourth year of the deal, they'll buy him out, or they'll try to trade him.
They would never do it this early.
No, never. Not in a million years, would they?
Never do it this early. All right. Well, hey, everybody, great job tonight. It was awesome chat room. Some newbies in there too. It was nice to see. Bruins lose tonight 2-1 to Pittsburgh. They fall back to 11-3, back to 500. The Centennial Game Sunday, 3:00. Montreal Canadiens will be on after. The podcast will be on after the post game live again. So join us. And until then, as always, even tonight, go Bruins.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.